Hello, Syngap Land. My name is Michael Graglia, and this is episode 168 of Syngap 10, the Syngap 1 podcast. Today is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, and we are in week 15 of this relatively crazy year. It's been a little while. I was, as I mentioned before, traveling in Boston last week, and this week is spring break here, which means I have been attempting to keep Tony entertained without the benefit of being able to send him to school, which is harder than it sounds. So I apologize for the delay. And every day it seems new things have popped up. So this is going to be a pretty dense episode. Let's jump in. I want to start by offering my condolences to the Brimsack family. John and Toby are grandparents of a Syngapian, and they jumped in with both feet and helped a lot with donor thank yous. And Toby was just great on those calls, and John was always supportive and kind when we spoke. And actually, we just shared, I think 2 days ago, an interview with his son-in-law, one of our board members, Eric Moulton, which you can listen to on curesyngap1.org/stories. But really, I want to start by acknowledging the contribution that Toby and John made to SRF, and we are just send our sincere condolences to the family, to Emily and Eric, for this loss, because John was great. With that said, let me tell you what I did last week. So because of Tony and childcare, I waited until the red eye, and then I red-eyed to Boston on Monday night, and I spent Tuesday running around. I talked to 3 different biotechs, I think, and Beacon Biosignals, whom we are working with on a study, and then I had dinner with a couple of families, which was a wonderful and full day all by itself. And the next day, I spent the full day with another company and shared that presentation that I spoke about before about the unmet need and got an update on their programs. And a lot of takeaways from that visit. I think, though, without naming names or pointing fingers, what I can generally say is I am hopeful. If all goes well, let me say it this way. If all goes well, we could actually be recruiting for trials somewhere on Earth in 1 year. Certainly, if we have not started recruiting for a trial in 1.5, 2 years, I will be amazed. That's my takeaway from what I saw and heard in these meetings. I think people are in the final stages of getting very serious about working on Syngap 1 and doing a clinical trial. And when I say somewhere on Earth, I think that's because regulatory strategy is such that some people might say, hey, we just got to go FDA all the way. And some people might say, you know what, for phase 1 and 2, we might want to go outside the US. Of course, that would have been a reasonable statement 3 months ago. Now, with the current level of insanity that we're seeing and all the changes in chaos at the federal level, I don't think any company could be faulted for saying, hey, maybe we should do a trial outside of the US. So at this point, I have no idea where trials are going to be. But what I can tell you is I do think more than one company is very seriously thinking about Syngap and is pushing ahead. So we could conceptually be recruiting for a trial in a year. It would be amazing. It would be amazing, and it should give us all hope. But it's really forced a lot of interesting conversations and questions that have been keeping me incredibly busy the past few days. Biggest of which, by the way, is what are we going to do? What are we going to measure in a trial to know it works? And you've heard me talk about this before, but guys, this is getting really, really real. And honestly, if we haven't already got an answer in progress, it's probably not going to be part of the answer, which is why some of the studies we're recruiting for are so critical. So for instance, many of you have heard of the Frazier study, which is this study where we put videos on screen and we have a Syngapian watch them for 15 minutes. And then the camera on the machine captures their eye movements as they respond to different things and reports that. And then that will build a data set that will let us potentially use this tool to measure changes in these nonverbal kids in a clinical trial. So, and some of you are like, wait, I think I did the first Frazier study and I'm not sure if this is the same one. Let them tell you that. Please, I am on bended knee here. curesyngap1.org/I2, EYE number 2. Sign up for that trial. The way you sign up is you're going to go to that link and it's going to tell you to email khubba@jcu.edu. KHUBA, I'm putting this in the notes, at JCU, John Carroll University, is the person to email. And I also want to emphasize, we cannot have too many people in this. And all you have to do is be able to speak English. So Australians, Brits, Canadians, this is your moment, guys. Sign up for this trial. It's a hugely valuable tool that will hopefully enable us to do decentralized trials when it's go time, which could be sooner than a lot of people think. Speaking of trials and digital tools, SRF is very busy. I share a LinkedIn post in here that DIME, the Digital Medicine Society, is launching an effort on rare disease and basically putting together a set of recommended measures and tools for using in decentralized trials. And I got to tell you, it's a really impressive little list of logos on there. There's BioMarin and Boston Children's Hospital and Alexa and FARA, who's the Friedreich's Ataxia organization, Fox G1, who's one of my heroes. The FDA's on there. And then, we got Stanford Medicine, Rett Syndrome Research Trust, who's another just utterly incredible organization. And there's Syngap Research Fund. So we're right there, guys, in it, fighting for our kids. And when A players like the Digital Medicine Society, aka DIME, put together an effort for pediatric rare disease, SRF is right there. The whole thing sponsored by Citizen Health, by the way, who we, of course, work closely with. So it's just really exciting. And I'm really proud of our team for that. And it's all with a laser focus. It's all with a laser focus of developing tools and procedures we can use for remote trials. What that means is that you would get dosed, but we wouldn't be asking you to come to a hospital every month or every whatever to get assessed, because we can do this remotely in your home with the tools that we're talking about. It's really exciting stuff. And I'm going to keep pushing, guys. I'm going to keep asking you to do things for the next year or so, and it's never mattered more. So please, the Frazier study, curesyngap1.org/EYE2. And then the team, we are in meetings with DIME, and we'll let you know if there's a way to help there. Can't believe I'm only getting this now, but it's April 9th, which means on April 1st, Jess Duggan and her team updated the census. The census is at 1,581, links in the show notes. That's a lot of Syngapians. We keep that number going up. There's more and more guys that are coming at us from every angle, every age. It's a lot of work, and we just need to keep welcoming them in and talking to them and growing this community, because a growing and activated community is one that can fill trials. And we need to fill a lot of trials. We need to make sure that every time a company comes to this community and wants to try to see if a medicine can help our kids, we partner with them, we fill that trial, and we figure that out together so that we can reduce the suffering caused by Syngap1. So the census is super important. Please, wherever you are, if you meet Syngapians, make sure they're connected with SRF. The impact report, Virginia and I did a webinar last week where we walked through the impact report. That's up on our website, curesyngap1.org/impact. Check that out if you're not familiar with the impact report. If you've got donors in your family, aunts, uncles, parents, whomever, and you want to explain to them how much good work SRF is doing, send them that video. It's at curesyngap1.org/impact. Both of these things, by the way, the census and the impact report, were featured in newsletter number 44. Ed, you're amazing. You just keep cranking out these newsletters. It's really impressive work. So make sure you don't miss that, curesyngap1.org/NL44. There's another webinar, speaking of webinars, on Monday. So today's Wednesday the 9th, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. On Monday, April 14th, the day before tax day, Dr. Jillian McKee from CHOP will be doing a webinar on natural history and clinical trial readiness. This is really the heart of it, guys. We have got to get ready for clinical trials. We have got to keep collecting this natural history data. We have got to go back to these sites and share our experience with these doctors, get their experience, their input, their wisdom to improve the care of our kids today. But really, we have put together 3 sites. There's the CHOP anchor site, which is funded by CHOP. And then there's the Colorado Children's site funded by SRF. And then very soon we'll be adding Stanford funded by SRF. So it'd be really important to listen to Dr. McKee. That natural history data will hopefully allow us to get to trials faster and have these trials. I don't want to go down the placebo rabbit hole, but the best case scenario for this natural history study is that the data is so rich that we don't have to do any placebo, because we already know what an untreated Syngapian will look like, right? I think there will be some placebo in the early trials, depending on FDA, but we want to keep that as small as possible. And even if a patient does get placebo, generally there's an open label extension, which means if you take part in a trial and you get placebo, at the end of the trial, you may have a chance to get on drug. So really exciting. We should all sign up for trials, but I'm not talking about trials. I'm talking about natural history studies. I want to make an important point here. CHOP is a machine. They see patients every week. I think it's on Thursday, and they are independently funded, right? CHOC, Children's Hospital of Colorado, is a smaller operation in terms of funding because the funding is coming directly from families like ours, right? We are funding CHOC. So those spots at CHOC are precious, and I think it's every month we have a few spots, and Lauren Perry is filling those. If you are anywhere near the mountain region, please contact Lauren, contact Children's Colorado, and sign up for those spots. They are incredibly precious. I think they cost us, when I do the math on the number of patient spots we have and the amount of money we spent, it's bonkers money because we're also spending for the researcher time and for them to do research behind the scenes. But it's all about patients showing up and taking those spots. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you are in the mountain region, I am on bended knee here. Please go to Children's Colorado. Get the best possible clinical care. If you need trouble paying for plane tickets or traveling, let us know. We will help pay for it. We want those spots filled. We want our patients to be seen by Dr. Abbott and her team, multidisciplinary team, psych, motor, all the disciplines, and really to benefit from that care, but also to share your data with the natural history study. Because again, Stanford, Colorado Children's, and CHOP all sharing data together on the back end to improve the clinical trial readiness of our community. You have questions about that? Go watch Dr. McKee's webinar on Monday, April 14th. Now, there's another blog up. Gosh, Ed, you guys have been cranking out the blogs. This blog is about the Combined Brain Roadshow. What this is Combined Brain is an umbrella group we belong to. They are the legal and charity that runs and manages our biobank. Our biobank is where we collect blood and other specimens, plasma, all the things, so that researchers and companies can get those samples when they need them to advance work on Syngap 1. Oh, I want to tell you a story about that. It's also where we make cell lines. So the biobank is a big deal. And Combined Brain tries to make it as easy as possible for people to contribute to the biobank because unfortunately not everyone comes to our conference. And so if there is another rare disease conference near you that Combined Brain is going to, you have a chance to just pop in on that conference where they will have trained phlebotomists and people who are very knowledgeable about rare disease kids and very expert at getting blood out of our kids, which honestly is a rare skill. And they could be in your neighborhood. So check out that blog about the Combined Brain Roadshow, CB Roadshow. And if there's a roadshow coming near you, please go and give a sample as well as a control. So generally we want a sibling or a parent or something. Anyway, check out the blog. It's amazing. Also want to talk about the Polish community. You know, we asked this question in advance of my trip to Boston last week about what is the unmet need and would you take part in an ASO trial? And I want to thank everybody who responded to that questionnaire. We had over 130 people respond in English. We had, I think, 60 people respond in Spanish. Amazing work. We're still compiling the data. But the Polish community was so moved by this question. They were like, yeah, that they actually all wrote something down and then they published a blog on our links in the show notes on our website. But just incredible work, guys, really standing up and being like, yes, we need an ASO and we need it now and please hurry up. Because, and I want you to read this, not just to be in awe of how organized the polls are, but to really stop and think. It's not too early, guys, for us to start. I'm going to be talking more about this, for us to stop and think. If there was an ASO trial recruiting tomorrow, would you sign up? What questions should you ask? What do you need to think about? And would you really be willing to do it? Obviously, I want you to say yes, but you have to have this conversation with your partner, with your spouse, with all the parents, whatever, and really understand what it means to take part in an ASO trial for your family and for this community. And what I will say again and again to everybody, and I've already said this to the people on the Ravicti trial, is if fate knocks on your door and there's a trial where you live, where there's a doctor who said, hey, you want to take part in this trial? The answer should generally be yes, because you don't know when that opportunity is going to come again. If we don't fill the trial, there might not be that opportunity again. And you may not only help the patient, but you're definitely going to help this whole community by taking part in this. This is not something where you sit out and wait for the next go around. This is something where we all need to lean in ferociously. So check out that blog. Good job, Poland. Let's keep going. Hey, it's fundraising time. Sprint for Syngap is in about 2 weeks. I've been seeing a lot of posts on it. The Tavillas, as usual, are crushing it. And there's a lot of other people involved. It's really exciting to see this event continue to grow and continue to raise money. I think as of this recording, I'm seeing $102,000 have already been raised. Team Tavilla, as usual, is just way in the lead with 80. Team Daisy is in there at 6K. Phoebe's Fight almost at 6K. Team Louie 4.5. Team Kaya, go Kaya, 1,300. Grayson's at 1,100. Miles and Grayson and Andrew Ashline and Impact for Emmy all pushing up on 1,000. This is what it takes, you guys. All of us raising whatever we can to pool our funds so that SRF can find opportunities and fund them. And believe me, that's getting harder because the amount of need is skyrocketing right now. There's a lot of labs face challenges, but we need to be really precise and targeted in our funding because our primary goal is clinical trial readiness. And there are some strategic things that we're going to fund because they might get certain drugs closer to the line or answer questions that are really critical. And I will come back to that in another podcast. But our funding does go far. So if you remember back in July 2022, we put out a press release where we co-funded a grant with Overcome in Canada. Thanks, guys. For Dr. Bowie up in Canada. And he just released, there was just a press release that I share in the, I'm going to put Bowie in here so you can find it, in the show notes, where there was a press release from Eureka Alert basically talking about how McGill discovery sheds new light on autism, intellectual disabilities, right? But really, it's a lot of looking at things that will relate to Syngap. And we know because of our grant to him and our ongoing collaboration with him that Dr. Bowie is working on Syngap. And indeed, the last line in this press release says the study was funded by the Canadian Institute of Health Research, the Natural Sciences Council of Canada, something in French, Cure Green Foundation, and the Syngap Research Fund. So really grateful for that acknowledgement. Congratulations to Dr. Bowie for this important publication. And just a reminder to our team that, Dr. Bowie is now working on therapies based on his insight, and Syngap is in his lab. And if and when there's a clinical trial, will be included because of the grants from SRF. So this fundraising and science thing, it's not like, oh, trust us, one day it'll help. Like I'm connecting the dots for you guys. We raised money 3 years ago. Paper's out now. Dr. Bowie's got a startup. He's working on a drug. Like things are happening fast and we have to keep moving. We have to keep fundraising. Every single family can fundraise. And if we pool those funds and spend them intelligently, and when I say intelligently, people smarter than I am are in charge of this, right? Dr. Catherine Heldy, PhD genetics, mother of a Syngapian, is our CSO. She is always driving and trying to fund stuff, and we're always prioritizing in partnership with her. So it's exciting times, guys. It's exciting time. The world is going bonkers, but somehow we're still pushing and we're still progressing. Similar, I'm not making this stuff up. CZI BioHub, major operation here in the Bay Area, just wrote an article profiling Dr. Helen Wilsey and her work with Xenopus, which is a fancy word for frogs. I don't know why scientists have to use old languages to talk. Can't they just say frogs? But no. So Xenopus, autism, and cilia. And you're like, wait, cilia, I've heard this one before. Yes, you have, because we've talked a lot about Dr. Wilsey's work, and Syngap 1 is front and center in her work. Again, we have funded work in her lab. So really exciting stuff. And congratulations to Dr. Wilsey. And please check out that article from CZI BioHub if you're still not quite sure what a cilia is. It's a great piece of science journalism. I always like to share those. PubMed. Miraculously, PubMed is at 17 publications year to date. We are in week 15, so we're at more than one a week, which is kind of where we need to be to beat last year. Given what's going on, I don't really know what's going to happen this year, but pretty good. 17 year to date, 324 total publications in Syngap. That's a link I want you guys to open because you can really see how many papers there have been on Syngap over time and how it's just been hockey sticking the past 5 years. And that's exactly what we want, because papers don't cure kids, but they sure help with everything from clinical trial design to developing therapeutics. So great work and great progress there. As you're probably gathering from hearing me talk right now, there is a virtually endless amount of work to do, and opportunities to keep working and keep partnering come up all the time. If you're a scientist or a clinician, we need you. We are in constant conversations with scientists and clinicians. There's so much going on. If you're a pharmacist, definitely call this double quick. But If you're if you're a project manager, if you're a comms person, if you're a finance person, if you just want to call people and say thank you, like whatever it is you can do, call us. We need your help doing it. This is largely a volunteer-run organization, and we need all the help we can get to continue this momentum that we have built through blood, sweat, and tears over the past 6 years. We are close, and we have to keep pushing. So whatever it is you're doing, whoever you're baking cookies for, whatever you're working on, just give SRF the next year, please. We need your help, and this is the most important year we've had yet. There is so much coming, but we have to keep pushing, and just keeping track of all the things is a tremendous effort right now. Tremendous effort. Social media also matters. It's how we find new families. We're at 3,996 followers on LinkedIn. You're killing me. I really want to be at 4,000, guys. If you could just share that with everybody you know on LinkedIn and be like, hey, this is an important organization for me. Please follow Syngap Research Fund. I would love it. I really want us to be at 4,000 on social. And then I'm going to want us to be at 5,000, but I'll take 4,000 for this week. Let's keep going. YouTube, 1,300 followers. That's incredible. And then other platforms. But LinkedIn and YouTube is where it's at. Please follow us there. If you're newly diagnosed, congratulations on making it this far in this podcast. This community is here for you. There's resources on the website. Check out the link in the show notes. This is a podcast. Make sure you give us 5 stars wherever you follow podcasts so others can find this source of valuable and current information about Syngap 1. You never know who's listening, guys. And I've heard from more than one family that they got diagnosed, drove home from hospital to home, and while they were driving, started listening to this podcast. So hopefully this has been a source of hope, not a source of overwhelm. We are making progress, and we are doing it because we are all working together. If you have comments, questions, feedback, let me know. Thanks for listening.